Why, hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time it is for you, thank you so much for stopping by and welcome to tonight's stream. It's more Virche, because I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed, and that's not even an understatement. I love this game so much. Da, da, da. So, let's pop over here without any further ado. Hello, it's me. Don't mind that I was playing Cupid Parasite earlier. Last night, I was playing Cupid Parasite. Because I didn't play that game on stream, so I was like, well, I'm not going to play it on stream. Not going to play the fan disc on stream, because that would be confusing. It's pretty alright so far that I played it. But yes, so last time we finished up Mathis's route. And it was wild, and it was horrifying, and I'm so excited to see what is wrong with Lucas. Hush. All right. So we are hitting start. Wait, back. Return to title, yes. Okay, we're gonna pop here. I think this is how we do it. Nope, hold on. I'm wrong. I'm like, wait a second, what did I do before? That's right, we just do start, yes. And then we do 2, begin act 2. No, I was wrong again. I was right the first time. I was right the first time. Yes. There we go. Now we skip through because we're trying to die, and Anku's like, no, wait, you shouldn't. Oh, yeah, we still can't do Eve's. But we can see him. So now it's Lucas's turn. Let's figure out what's wrong with him. Start Lucas's story. Believing in his fate to lead. I don't like how those beads around the apple looked like worms. Gonna be honest. I forgot to do the warning. I should be remembering to do this, but please remember that this game is very dark. Virche is a very dark game, a very despair-inducing game. It is not for everybody. Especially just to give you an idea of the themes that we're going to see on this route. Gaslighting, manipulation, verbal abuse, confinement, brainwashing, gore, blood, violence, body horror, human experimentation, drugs and abuse of medicine, religious beliefs and discussions, cults, genocide, obsessive tendencies toward a minor. This game is dark. I would say if you are familiar with the fan fiction term, dead dove do not eat, this game falls under it. So yes, without any further ado, let's start now. Now we can start. Now we could actually start.
彼女は生と死両方に愛されている人間だろう。生きているのに死んでいる。
Okay.
死んでいるのに生きている。誰もがそんな彼女を指さし、こう言った。ああ、なんて。
Is that talking about us, the main character?
かわいそう。
Is that about us or about somebody else? There were no gods in this world. Starting off strong. Oh. Oh no! That's Lucas.
自力で呼吸することさえままならなくて。うるさい。だったらそのまま死なせてリライバーとして蘇らせればいいだろう。これ以上騒ぐならこの衛兵を呼ぶぞ。
Uh-oh. Yeah, it's Lucas. Lucas and his not daughter, sister. Slowly, ever so slowly, I carried the young life on my way back as the rain fell. I feared that with every cough, more of her life would be lost.
これからどうすれば。このままでは23歳まで生きるどころか。
I wandered throughout the country in search of a hospital that would look at her, to no avail. Everyone I met said the same thing as that doctor, that she would just die now and revive later. How despicable. How could they be so brazen in saying something so terrible? I had some faith that there was at least one person who would be willing to try saving her life, but...
神は私たちを見捨てられたのでしょうか。なぜ私ではなく、こんないい声、残酷な試練を与えるのです。かわいそう。かわいそう。生まれてからこの子は苦しんでばかりだ。
Oh. Still.
リライバーにだけはするものか。
Yeah, because as we learned, whatever body you get as a reliver, you're stuck in. So if you become a reliver at like 6, you are forever 6.
私は彼らとは違う。この子をこの子のまま生かしてみせる。大丈夫ですよ。すぐに私があなたを治してくれるお医者様を見つけてあげますからね。だからもう少しだけ頑張れますか。
It was a lie. There was no one to help. But I kept telling myself that I shouldn't take away the last sliver of hope that was keeping her alive.
どこか。
Oh.
いえ、誰か。
As a chronically ill person, this hits a little too close to home.
私にできることならば何だってします。どうかこの子の苦痛だけでも取り除いてあげてください。ようやく見つけた。
Oh.
君がリュカ・プルースト君だね。
Uh-oh. This is Capuchin. I know, Lily. A gentle-looking man in a white robe stood in front of us without an umbrella. He slowly walked towards us, not seeming to be bothered by the rain. His warm smile could melt ice away.
もう大丈夫だよ。私たちと共においで。
That already tells me enough.
きっと我らが神が
Ooh.
その子を救ってくださる。
Our God.
Kami.
He extended a hand of salvation to us.
ご注文いただきました品の方、以上でお揃いですか？
Hi, bling. New bed sheets, gardening supplies, new textbooks for the children. Yep, it looks like everything's here. Thank you very much for bringing it over. Here's your payment.
確かに。お買い上げありがとうございます。
Hello, hello, hello,
じ
hello.
ゃあ、失礼。
The man mumbled softly and pulled his card away as he left. The whole transaction felt awkward, but he didn't seem too afraid of me. I guess that means it went well. It still feels weird, considering his reaction might be due to the incident. The fact that I was involved in the pursuit of the mass murderer Buro left a great impact on the people of Koen. The residents' complaints that demanded I be removed from the area slowly began to disappear. The obvious disgust I encountered when stepping outside had dwindled into simple murmurs. The biggest change was that they were now willing to speak to me briefly, just like the man from earlier. Oh yeah, that's right. You're working late and today's got stuff. Showbizies. We're all showbizies. Of course, all that was considered a change for the better, but... better is still bad. I still get nervous talking to strangers.
人見知りを直す良い機会ではありませんか。
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I brought some freshly brewed tea to Lucas, who had just finished teaching the children. I poured some tea for myself, then sat in the seat across from him.
それにしても
Lucas looked at me as he savored the tea's aroma and flavor. Hi, Howie!
君とこうしてお茶を飲みながら穏やかに語り合える時が来るとは実に喜ばしい。長生きはするものです。
I agree. This was another change in my life, being able to enjoy some tea with my former teacher. Until now, Mother was the one who served him tea as thanks for his lessons. I'd never been part of the gesture.
以前から一人で飲むのは寂しいと思っていたんです。
Understandable.
よければ話し相手として君も同席してくれませんか？
Hanashiaite. That was one of my vocab words recently. Yeah, to talk with. I ended up getting to spend this time enjoying a cup of tea, all thanks to him. I was a little nervous at first, but as long as we spoke about the children, there was no shortage of topics to talk about. Nowadays, I actually looked forward to spending time with him like this after class. Results aside, I really am glad that I was able to help. After interacting with you and the others, I've been able to take a better look at myself.
君の笑顔を見られるようになったのは私としても嬉しいのですが。
ですが? Lucas put down his empty teacup.
イブ君たちと出会う前の自分をあまり卑下しないでください。
Huh? My hand holding the teacup stopped moving. I assumed he was referring to when I used to force a smile on my face when I was around anyone else. If only I could scold myself back then for doing such a thing.
生きる上で反省や後悔は必要なことでしょうが、度が過ぎれば心を蝕む毒となる。悲しみを得て嘆きうつむくのは人間に与えられた当然の権利であり、怠惰や甘えではありません。
Very true.
君はただ立ち直るきっかけをつかむのに少しだけ時間を要しただけですよ。
He was naturally supportive with me. After finishing his cup of tea, Lucas got up from the chair and walked to my side.
ですから、
私
の大事な教え子をどうかひどく言わないでください。
Student.
先生の方が悲しくなってしまいます。
I thought he was going to say, don't speak poorly of my precious person. I was going to say, whoa, we're moving fast. But student. That makes
言
more
われのない
sense.
罪を背負うのはさぞ辛かったでしょう。
Well, depending on who you ask, we were still, we still committed a few of them.
今まで君は逃げ出さずによく頑張りました。
Oh, thank you. His slender fingers touched my hair as if to console me. Lucas, I had done well. I never even once considered that. The more I looked back on my past, the more I hated how I acted like I was just a poor victim. But my teacher, he actually praised me, saying that I had done well despite living a life I wasn't fond of. Thank you very much. I felt something hot rising from inside me. I'm very happy that I could call you my teacher, Lucas.
それは光栄です。
Oh no, he's gonna start
教師
coughing.
にとっては最上の褒め言葉で。
Suddenly his expression hardened. I don't like that expression. I don't like that expression. He's gonna be wearing that a lot more and I don't like it. He's gonna cough. With this, oh no! Well, I was right. I didn't like that expression, but for a whole different reason. Yeah. With a sudden coughing fit, he fell to the floor. Lucas! His coughing was a lot worse than before. He was sweating unnaturally, and it looked like he was having a hard time breathing. He tried to suppress his coughs with his hand, and I hurriedly offered a handkerchief. Just as quickly, he placed the handkerchief over his mouth, but his coughing wouldn't subside, and he was breathing so hard that his body shook. Lucas! I quickly knelt down and rubbed his back as he doubled over in pain. Don't apologize! Oh my god! Yeah, please don't apologize! Just think about yourself right now. A few minutes passed. Okay, honey. Oh, if this fruit touches on chronic illness and all that stuff, I'm getting. Ooh, this is gonna be a interesting time.
すみません。
Don't apologize.
最近は調子が良かったので油断していました。こちらのハンカチは後ほど代わりのものを買って
Honey.
お返ししますので。
The handkerchief that he moved away from his mouth had blotches of blood on it. Do you have consumption? Does everybody here just get tuberculosis? Is that what's going on? A sign of the curse of death. Don't worry about the handkerchief. We should call a doctor here so that you can...
呼んだところで呪いによる発作には対処できませんよ。
Yeah.
今日は早めに家に戻って体を休めることにします。
Oh, Lord. But...
本当に大丈夫ですから。私が丈夫なことは君もよく知っているでしょう。
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it sucks to see you in pain. Doesn't mean it doesn't suck. As he expressed himself in a frail but firm voice, I realized I couldn't persuade him otherwise. Understood. At the very least, why don't you rest for a while here? I'll get you some water.
はい。ありがとうございます。
Ugh. It's on my nose. My nose is pretty itchy. I knew it wasn't of much help, but I quickly walked to the kitchen to get a mug of warm water. I noticed something ever since we became friendly enough to chat over tea. He didn't like having people worry about his inevitable death. He usually acts normal, and we did live together for a short time before without any problems, but... Oh yeah, we're worried about killing him. Lucas, if I'm not mistaken, you're 22 this year, aren't you? If so, then...
はい。私にも決断の時が近づいています。
Lucas would be 23 years old very soon. Each new day that passed, even today, with each fit of coughing, it was impressed upon him that his time was almost up. He didn't seem too worried. It must be because he already had everything backed up, but he doesn't have backups. Not this man. I wondered how much of the emotions he showed right now would carry over to his cloned body. If it was in my power, I'd want Lucas to remain how he was now. A kind and gentle teacher who would stand at the podium again to teach others. The cup overflowed with water as my mind lingered on his future. After a meal with Mother and the children, with Lucas's approval, I disclosed to Mother what happened to him earlier.
そう。先生の発作、本格的にひどくなってきたみたいね。いくら先生が丈夫でも、さすがにそろそろ寝たきりになってしまうかもしれないわ。そうしたら、うちへの訪問授業も。
I knew that it was inevitable, but I couldn't bring myself to accept that it would happen so soon. Suddenly...
なんだよ、そんな湿っぽい顔して。
Oh, hi, little shit.
先生だって死んだらリライバーになってすぐに職場復帰できるんだろ。
Milo gave us his opinion, having overheard our conversation when he came to get some water. Well, yes, but I was a bit surprised as this was the first time he was actually talking to me after dinner.
その点については私も心配していないけれど、彼、寿命で亡くなるまでの間、看病してくれる人はいるのかしら。
I'm not sure. Now that you mention it, I don't think I've heard about Lucas's family or his personal life before.
私もよ。先生ってば、生徒の話ならいくらでも聞くのに、自分のことは全然話さないんだもの。
I'm getting a little worried now, but if he's living alone... Or what if he's living alone? Milo, have you heard anything from Lucas?
俺が知るわけないじゃん。
True.
先生ってなんで生き返るって分かってるのにそんな大げさに心配してんだよ。せっかく声かけたってのに外の人間を気にかけてる暇あるなら 俺たちのことをもっと。
Huh? My love, did you say something?
別に。
What? Okay. Why was Milo so grumpy? It seemed it was gonna take more time for us to become friends.
ともあれ、いずれ給食のご連絡をいただいたら、それとなく訪ねてみましょうか。
Thank you. I was sure he was ready for his coming death, but... It doesn't change the fact that he's going to be suffering until that day comes. I was a little frustrated that the only thing I could do earlier was rub his back. Mother, Xian, and Hugo. I wondered if they went through the same thing when they were human. After doing a few chores, I went right into recording the cost for the order that was delivered today when I realized something about our short lifespans that I had paid little attention to before. Now that I think about it, I don't know anyone who actually died when they were 23 years old. Based on physical age, I assumed Adolf would be the next in line to face the same problems Lucas was facing, but he was so resilient and healthy that I didn't recall him ever showing any symptoms. Oh, what that could mean was perhaps my ability to spread misfortune was finally settling down to the extent that a natural decline was becoming noticeable. Not that I could be happy about it. What?
この短い間に君が歩んだ軌跡は所詮序章に過ぎないのさ。
Hi, Uncle.
自ら命を絶つ異様な死も理不尽によって奪われる死も、 この国の呪いに蝕まれ儚く散っていく死も、 あるいはまだ日向にすら出ていないさまざまな死も、何一つ解決していない。 何一つ解決していない。
Is what the Watchman of Death said. Of course, I couldn't take what he said at face value. Why not? In addition, it wasn't like we knew why those strange deaths happened either. As for Bordeaux, it still bothered me that we didn't know who the shadow was who poured acid onto him in his final moments. If that shadow was somehow involved with both the murders and the suicides, and if those horrible deaths happened again, no amount of reliver technology could keep up with the deaths of so many. Lucas himself might even be murdered after becoming a reliver. Then what Anku said about resolving those issues made sense. So, what could I do? No. Could I even do anything about it? Instead of following someone else's plan, this time I would take action myself. Okay. Do we know how to do that? The next day, I walked through the streets of Koen as people continued to stare at me, albeit not with the same suspicion as before. My destination was close to the hospital. The church? Oh no. I was at the church that the Corps was using as their base. Yo. I did my best to stay quiet as I opened the door. I noticed someone in front of the altar. Oh. Lucas was there on his knees with his hands clasped in prayer. The light glimmered through the stained glass windows. The light glimmering through the stained glass windows was shining upon him like a rainbow as if to bless his piety and beauty. The sight was simply mesmerizing. It was as though I were looking at a beautiful portrait that left me in awe.
Oh yeah.
Hi. Oh, he had his back turned to the entrance, but he immediately noticed my entry and stood up to end his prayer.
こんにちは。昨日はご心配をおかけしました。
Oh, please don't apologize, sweetheart. Good day to you too. I'm sorry if I interrupted your prayer just now. I know you've only rested for one night, but how are you feeling?
問題ありません。帰宅してすぐに眠ったところ、うまく持ち直しましたから。
I highly doubt that. That's good to hear, but it doesn't mean I'm not still worried, so please take care of yourself.
ええ。心に銘じておきます。
That doesn't sound like a yes, sir, to me.
しかし、君がここに来るとは珍しい。いえ、初めてのことでは？一体どのような用事で？
Well, I was looking for you, Lucas. I heard from Mother that you sometimes come to pray around this time.
私を？
I looked to make sure no one else was around before telling him what I'd been thinking about. He must have sensed it was something important as he looked at me with interest.
なるほど。内密な相談ですか。
Yeah.
わかりました。では、君が認めたもの以外には口外しないと約束しましょう。
How very sweet of you.
生徒の悩みを聞くのも教師の務め。話を詳しく伺っても。
I didn't hit that. Thank you very much. Let me start with... So I've been seeing a man called the Watchman of Death. I decided to let him in on what happened. Oh, all of it? Yep. There we go. About my encounter with Anku. I was joking, but all right. About the impending threat of death. And about how the incidents by Buro and the strange suicides weren't necessarily over. I explained in detail everything I heard and knew so that Lucas might possibly be able to offer me some guidance.
冥界の存在。その万人を自称する不死の青年。にわかには信じがたい話ですが、気になる発言も多々あります。ひとまず信じることを前提として話を進めてみましょうか。
Thanks, because it is.
彼の事件が未解決という主張は確かに可能性としてはありえます。ブローこそ死亡しましたが、彼が変死事件を引き起こしたという明確な証拠は見つかっていませんからね。
He looked at me with a serious expression.
仮に再調査をするとして、君はまず何を調べたいのか、それを決めていますか？
Great question. No. Well, why was he asking me that?
この国を蝕む死神の呪いは元からあるものですし、変死の原因はあのシアンさんが遺体がなければ調べられないと頑なに主張するほどの難問。専門家でもない私たちの調査程度で明らかになるとは思えません。
True, I came to that conclusion as I thought about it last night. Oh god, the yawn. I came to that conclusion as I thought about it last night. Which is why I was thinking of focusing on Buro and figuring out who he was. So perhaps looking into his background. How? We know nothing about him. Lucas stopped for a moment at my idea.
さすがにその回答は予想外ですね。
What did you expect me to say?
なぜその結論に至ったのか、理由を教えてもらっても？
Well, I initially thought of looking for that shadow I saw above us when Buro was killed. The person who killed him is still alive, so looking into them could potentially put everyone at risk. To add, Adolf and the Royal Guard might already be looking into the case, so it's best I don't get in their way. I knew it sounded horrible, but so I figured maybe it's not as risky to investigate the identity of Buro since he's already dead. I also thought that Buro acted on his own considering Mathis's findings of what happened that night. Does that make sense?
確かにブローの正体が分かれば、あの人影とのつながりも見えてくるかもしれませんね。ですが、どうやって彼の身元を調べるつもりで？
Great question. I figured I'd just have to ask around. Hey, do you know anything about the serial killer? Do you know anybody that you would think would be serial killer-y who have recently disappeared? Yeah, if only it was that easy. Lucas nodded in agreement and said that was about the only means we had at our disposal.
ですが、王家が解決したと宣言している以上、表立って行動すれば咎められるやも。
He then raised a finger and made a proposal.
よかったら私の教師の仕事をしばらく手伝ってみませんか？
もちろん。Teacher's aid?
ええ。私が訪問授業で様々な施設や家庭を回っているのは君も知っていますよね。
Hi, Diddlypuff. Good meowing.
それに君も同行し、行く先々で聞き込みをしてみては？その方が街中で堂々と聞き込みをするよりはるかに安全です。
You can keep an eye
私
out
の
on
目
me.
も届きますしね。
He then gave me a sweet smile.
もしブローがかつて身寄りのない状態だった場合、どこかの施設に記録や手がかりが残っている可能性もありますよ。
Why would the orphanages have records of the homeless? That doesn't make sense, but alright. I see. If I wanted to find out who he was, I could look at the past. But I wouldn't want to trouble you over something that I thought up myself.
気遣いなどではありませんよ。実は君の相談がなくとも寿命と体調のことを考慮して補佐してくれる助手を雇う予定だったのです。見知らぬ誰かよりは親しい君の力を借りられる方がとても心強いのですが。
He also said that he would pay me well. Lucas smiled kindly. It was true that his proposal was much more efficient than investigating on my own. To add, the image of Lucas suffering from his symptoms yesterday flashed through my mind. If I was nearby, I could help him if that happened again. Perhaps I wouldn't be much help, but still. I personally would love to accept your offer, but I need Mother's approval in order to work outside the orphanage, so I'll talk to her tonight. Oh, and I'd also need to let Adolf and the others know, since it wouldn't be a good idea to investigate without their consent.
それがいいでしょう。くれぐれも誰にも相談せず一人で行動することだけは控えてください。
Something tells me this man is acting alone without consulting others.
マティス君をかばった件といい、君には意外とおてんばな一面があるようですから。先生も無茶をしないか心配しています。それもまた暗い影に隠されていた君の愛らしさの一つなのでしょうけど。
Loveliness. He complimented me so naturally that my cheeks began to warm. We're already flirting.
それでは良いお返事を期待しています。君の行く道に神の導きがあらんことを。
After parting ways with Lucas at the church, I quickly went to look for Adolf and the others so they could approve the proposal. But rather than visit each individual's home or workplace, I think this is the place. I could hear men having the time of their lives in the bar in front of me. Oh boy. Oh god. The people I spoke with earlier told me that I could find Yves and the others drinking at this bar, but I suppose they finished work early as I could smell liquor from the bar despite the time. This is the first time I've been here. My first time at the church, too. I guess today's just that kind of day. I wondered what it was like inside the lively bar. Hello? With a bit of curiosity, I slowly opened the rickety door. The tables were shoved to the walls. Oh. In the center were the core members and... Oh. They were rapidly trading fists. Adolf looked dead serious. Yves looked like he was having fun. They're fighting? But I thought Adolf and Yves were friends! Huh? But if they were fighting, why weren't the members of the core stopping them? Oh. They're betting. Rather than stop them, the men were gathered around and enjoying the fight with drinks in hand. Now that I look more closely, I noticed the bartender wasn't bothered either. On the contrary, he was having fun. The crowd looked on as they continued to fight. I was stunned as I watched the unusual sight unfolding before my eyes when... Adolf quickly grabbed Yves' arm just as he swang and pulled his body closer. Oh.
Someone has joined the kingdom. Oh, Joshua, thank you so much for stopping by. And thank you so much for having out Melrose and yeah.
Oh no. He quickly hooked his leg around Yves'. Adolf then lifted him up easily as if he was going to lug him onto his back. He bent slightly and launched Yves forward, mercilessly slamming him into the open floor. The bar went wild. Oh boy. Oh. Oh no. Well, I say oh no, but they're obviously play fighting.
いつ見てもいい勝負だよな。さすがはあのとんでもない先代から徹底的にしごかれた二人。バカ。あの人の話題出すのやめろよ。イブたちが怯えちまうだろ。
おーい、生きてるか？イブ？
生きてるけど。悔しい。また負けた。これで52勝68敗。
Whoa.
差がどんどん開いてっちゃうな。
お前は隙を見出した途端、相手の反撃を考えずに突っ込む癖をどうにかしろ。
ああ、それまたやっちゃったか。もし師匠が今の見てたら、文字通り死ぬほど怒られたよね。
思い出させるな。夢に出る。お
Azadolf's side looked away. Hi. Sorry to bother you all when you're having so much fun. Adolf, do you mind if I talk to you for a second? Our eyes met as I stood near the entrance of the bar. Hi.
Blessings.
驚かせて悪いな。あれうちの余興みたいなもんでよ。
They look French in this outfit. This uniform, they look French. They look really French.
自警団ツートップのこいつらに手合わせをさせては、飯や酒をかけて盛り上がってんだ。
Oh, that doesn't sound fun.
俺はうんざりしてるがな。
It really doesn't sound fun in the slightest. What a relief. For a second, I thought you two were serious. Eves, is your back okay? That sounded terrible.
平気。受け身は取れたし、アドルフも加減してくれたしね。でも、負けたのはやっぱり悔しいよ。アドルフ、手合わせするたびにどんどん強くなってるんだもんな。
Yeah.
アドルフの年頃だと、呪いの影響で逆に体力が落ちていくものじゃないの？
例外ぐらいあるだろう。リュウカ先生だって普通に仕事してるしな。
Well.
うん、それもそっか。あの人もすごい丈夫だよね。
Oh, are we gonna figure out what the hell's going on with his fucking like super strength?
次は勝てよ、イブ。俺は毎回お前が勝つと信じて、かけられるもんは全部かけてんだぜ。おかげで、さっき頼んだ酒もパーだ。
たまにはアドルフにかければいいのに。
Adolf frowned as to ask why Yves would want to go through that again. Yeah, Hugo's a very dedicated boyfriend. From the looks of it, it seemed that Adolf wasn't participating in the fun too willingly. Adolf doesn't like standing out. Still, judging by the good relationship he had with them, it must mean they were getting along.
それで、どうした？酒を飲みに来たわけでもねえんだろ。
Yeah, I don't drink. Well, there's something I wanted to discuss with you. Does this still have, like, Japan drinking age, where you can only drink once you turn 20? The four of us sat at the table at the very end of the bar. We had our discussion with the clamor, the core having fun as they drank more and more.
リュウカ先生の助手をしつつ、ブローの身元を調べる。
Yeah.
まさか他でもないあんたが、今さらあの事件を蒸し返すとはね。
うん。俺も少し驚いた。
You don't agree?
外で働くことは反対しねえ。だがこれ以上事件に関わるのは。
まあいいじゃねえか。そう過保護になるなよ、お兄様。俺たちだって変死事件とブローのあの強引なこじつけに納得できなくて、こっそり調査してんだから。
I don't think you should be telling me that. Oh.
ヒューゴ。
Upon hearing Adolf's reprimanding tone, Hugo shrugged. So the core were continuing the investigation.
まあね。ブローの仕業ならそれはそれで、証拠をちゃんと固めておきたいから。
Yes.
マルシェに最近流通した食品を調べたり、不明のままだった被害者たちの数や身元をどうにか調べられないか、聞き込み中。
I doubt.
お前が見たという妙な人影の件もな。
まあぶっちゃけ、どれも手がかりが少ないから、ほとんどダメ元なんだけどよ。
I guess there's still a long way to go, especially since the suspect died. But aren't you doing what the Royal Guard should be doing?
あいつらが終わりと宣言した事件に対してまともに働くと思うか？
Exactly. I see what you mean.
つうわけでまあ、彼女にはあくまで普通に働いてもらって、偶然何らかの情報が手に入りゃ儲けもの、俺らもおこぼれに預かるぐらいの構えでいりゃいいんじゃねえの？
Sounds good to me.
俺も賛成。外の世界で働くのは彼女にとっていい経験になると思う。その訪問授業を通して新しい友達もできるかもしれないよ。リュウカ先生もそばにいるしね。
Adolf didn't seem to agree earlier, but after hearing from the Kurun duo, wow, Kurun duo.
それもそうだな。あの人影を探す と言い出さないだけマシか。
Mhm.
ただしつこいだろうが危険な真似だけはするなよ。
Yeah, we won't do anything dangerous, we say with our fingers crossed behind our back. I'll prioritize assisting Lucas since that's why he offered me the job. I'll make sure I stay close to him and not do anything out of line.
ならいい。
The mood loosened up at the final verdict. Hugo leaned his weight against the back of his chair and laughed heartily.
教師の手伝いなんて俺らにもめったに回ってこねえ貴重な仕事だ。やるならとことん楽しんでこいよ。
Why would you get to be a teacher's aide? That didn't make sense, but alright.
先生の体調も心配だし、手が足りなくなったらいつでも俺たちクルーンを頼りにしてね。
Kudoon. Right, I'll definitely let you know. Like, I know that they're basically like handymen, anything men, but a teacher's aide's a little specific. Adolf offered to escort me back to the orphanage, but got caught by the Corps and was dragged away to join the drunken revelry. With that, I headed back to the orphanage myself to get the second round of approvals. I got the okay from Adolf and everyone else to accept the offer. Mother, will you please allow me to help Lucas as his teacher's aide? I'll give any money I earned at the orphanage.
いいえ、お金のことはいいのよ。
Oh,
かえって突然何の相談かと思えば。
okay.
最近あなたの自立心や成長が早すぎて、私の方が追いつけなくなってきてるわ。
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
謝る必要はないけれど、今後は一番に相談してちょうだいね。それで、肝心の返事だけれど、あくまで社会経験を積むのが優先。調査はついで。程度なら、私も構わないわよ。
I don't think it will. Really? I thought she was gonna say no.
こんな嘘ついてどうするの？
True. It's just like I have no reason to lie to you.
これもあなたの成長。可愛いわがままの延長だと思っておくわ。そう、きっかけは調査なのだろうけど、リュカ先生の体調、心配なんでしょ？
Yes. Oh, did I say that earlier?
口じゃなくて表情にね。
Mm-hmm.
私も先生のことは心配だし、あなたが彼のことをそばで支えてあげてちょうだいね。
I will do anything for that man. Of course. I'll do my best so that I can repay him for all that he's done for me. A few days later. I was visiting Lucas's house, located near Shitty. After getting approval from Mother and the others, I told him that I would like to accept his offer to be his aide, which was why I was here now, since he told me that it would be good to see where I would be working.
ようこそ私の自宅兼職場へ。最低限片付けたつもりですが、見苦しいものがあったらすみません。
It's a nice little place. Oh no, the place is really clean. In fact, I wouldn't mind learning a thing or two from you about housekeeping. Do you mind if I have a look around?
いくらでもどうぞ。
Yeah, with his approval, I looked around the room. That nice big bed. Just the type that I like, a canopy bed. Lucas's house was so clean that it even felt like he wasn't living here. I suppose he must clean the place quite often, or he doesn't live here. The floor was so clean that I felt I might slip. What did stand out, probably because of his profession, were the books and classroom supplies he had around the place. I noticed there were piles of papers around the area that looked like homework from students at the other orphanages. Lucas, do you live here by yourself?
ええ、訳あって肉親は別の場所で暮らしているので。
Okay. Which means that he had someone to contact if his symptoms returned. I had to admit, I was surprised that he disclosed personal information to me so casually. On the other hand, it wasn't as though it was anything to hide. Judging by his gentle expression, he must have answered simply because I asked. As my gaze wandered, I noticed a well-organized bookshelf. What about those? They look different from the school textbooks on the other shelf.
私が個人的に所有している本です。時折授業で使うものもありますが。
Language, math, genetics. It seems like you have a lot of books about relivers and the curse of death.
子供に教える以上、基礎は徹底的に固めてしかるべきですから。他にも気になる本があるなら手に取ってみても構いませんよ。
Mm-hmm. Are you sure? Well, if you don't mind. Picture book or a romance novel? We're over for a romance novel, baby. I know this one. It's a novel I've heard some other girls of the Marche have been reading. A story about love between those of different social standings. Is that not the right one? Does he want me to pull up the picture book? The picture book. Cool. This picture book. I picked out a book with cute illustrations.
幼い生徒への読み聞かせに使っているものですが、もしやご存知で？
How is it a picture book if you read it? I thought picture books had no words. Maybe I'm just confused. I meant to go to status. Yes, Adolf used to read it to me a lot when I just arrived at the orphanage. I believe it was about...
とある不思議な世界で、一人孤独に暮らしていた女の子が
Like the Wizard of Oz?
時折迷い込んでくる人間たちと友人になり、別れを繰り返しながらも少しずつ成長していく物語ですね。
Okay, so different. It's really a nice story. At the end, she leaves her world and meets her friends again. Oh, the cover looks a bit worn. Have you been using this for a while now?
ええ。どうにも愛着が湧いてしまいまして、新品に買い替える気にならないんです。
Well, that's okay. I know what you mean. In fact, I still have the same book kept away safely in my room. I slid the book back onto the bookshelf and reached for another book instinctively. It seemed to be a very old book. The cover, the pages, they look like they're about to fall apart. I wonder what this book is about. I tried to turn the first page to see what was inside, but I have a bad feeling about this. Hearing the horrible tearing noise, I carefully put the book back in place, since it sounded like it was going to fall apart.
おや、そちらの本は良いのですか?
Yes, I'm actually curious about this book on Art Michelle history. I've kept all the books I used in class, but this one has a lot more pages to it.
教師用のものですから、一般用の教科書よりも細かく情報が書かれているんです。
That makes sense. I flipped through the pages with interest. It touched on how there weren't many vegetables apart from potatoes. Oh no! Is this like fucked up Ireland? Which led to a history of nutritional problems. It also had information on the first person to suggest the creation of the Marche and how the Royal Guard was established. He was right in that there was a lot in here that wasn't taught in class. I suddenly noticed something strange. There isn't much from before 100 years ago. The oldest information... excuse me. Blessings. In here is about how the fields of licorices have surrounded the islands as long ago.
当時はリライバー技術が開発されるどころか、自分たちが短命であるという自覚もなく。
Yeah, the reliver technology is only like 60 years old or something.
人々が息をするように亡くなっていた暗雲の時代でしたから。記録を現にリライバー技術が確立されてからは、生活にゆとりが出てきたのか、細やかに記されるようになっていますよね。
Oh, you're right. Just a page later and already a page is filled with text. I guess the reliver technology really did save everyone in this country. It's pretty amazing that I had the chance to get to know Xian, the same person from our history books who developed that technology. It still feels surreal. Lucas?
ああ、いえ。私も同感です。本当に人生とはわからないものですね。今となっては研究所に戻った彼へ私が連絡を取る手段はありませんが、せっかく知り合えたのですから、機会があればまた共にお酒を飲み交わしたいものです。
Yeah, I'd like to meet with him again too. Oh, but Xian didn't seem to have a high tolerance, so we probably shouldn't encourage him to drink. No, he had a really low tolerance and was pouring booze on himself.
考慮だけはしておく。
Oops. Lucas smiled as if he was sincerely looking forward to that opportunity again. Later, he showed me his teaching materials and how to separate assignments. He also showed me how his class flowed and what exactly he wanted me to help him with. I knew I wasn't qualified to teach a class on my own, so I was grateful that I'd mostly be following his directions and distributing class materials. While at his house, my work would focus on grading the homework and tests collected from the different facilities he visited.
もしも授業中に難しい顔をしている子がいたら、声をかけてあげるか、私に教えてください。生徒の中には自分から質問することを苦手としている子もいますから。
Yeah. Understood. I'll keep an eye out during class. I wrote down everything he told me into my notepad so that I wouldn't forget. I scribbled the notes in an attempt to keep up, thinking I needed to rewrite them later. As I thought more about it, I looked at Lucas's face while he continued his explanation. I was relieved to see that he looked as well as he said he was at the church. It didn't seem he would have another coughing fit soon. It could be possible that he was forcing himself to suppress his symptoms in front of me right now, but...
私の顔に何かついていますか?
No, it's nothing. I'm sorry for getting distracted. Lucas tilted his head a bit to the side. There were only a handful of ways that I could help him, but I really hoped I could. Every time he had a coughing fit, he would always smile and tell me he was fine. I knew he was strong, but there was something so fragile about him at the same time. Yes, that would be his pretty boy beauty. A few hours passed. We spent some time together over some tea as he continued to go over what I could expect as a teacher's aide. Before long, the sun went down and it was time for me to return home.
では、明日からのお手伝い、どうぞよろしくお願いします。
Yeah.
初日から何もかもを完璧にこなす必要はありませんから、ゆっくり学んでいきましょう。
Understood. I'll do my best to not get in your way. After expressing my gratitude, I left his house, the workplace that I would be frequenting often in the future. Why did I have trouble with that word? Lucas is precious. I love him. Oh no.
本当に一時とはいえ、私は彼女のそばにいられるのか。
Oh my god! Does he already like us?
嬉しい。まるで夢を見ているようだ。
What? Yo! That's awesome! The orphanage we would be visiting today was located near the Marche. He's so precious! I had close to 60 years. No. It had close to 60 years of history, having been established by a member of the royal family who served as his benefactor. I was initially anxious about how the children would react since I was rumored to be deaf, but Lucas already explained to the orphanage beforehand and got permission for me to assist him in his lessons. The way he got approvals was...
反対されなかったとは言いませんが、最終的には心よくうなずいてくれましたよ。教職は希望者が少なく、万年人手不足なので、手伝いを断った結果、私が過労で倒れる方が困るということでしょう。
Way to manipulate them, baby boy. At least that was what he said. I felt somewhat guilty about all the preparations he took just for me to help as his aide. The classes here were separated by age. On average, a class took about an hour, and the students in class would leave to allow the next group of students to come in. The class session today began with the older children around the age of 13. They sure are staring at me. Oh. Hold on, am I gonna hiccup? No, okay. It's like, am I gonna hiccup? Am I gonna yawn? Am I gonna burp? No, none of them. None of the above. My breath just hitched. My throat had to make a noise. There we go. I didn't know if they knew who I was, but their innocent eyes were fixed upon me as I stood beside Lucas. Noting that I was tense, Lucas whispered in my ear.
肩の力を抜いて、君は君にできることをすればいい。たとえ失敗したとしても、必ず私が補助します。
Aww.
いっそ 子供たちとの交流を楽しむつもりで臨んでください。
Aww. Understood. Lucas's reassurance eased the tension that was pent up inside me. Today's subject was about how age affected the clone bodies used by relivers. Just as Dahoot explained before, Lucas explained in simple terms how relivers were able to keep their appearance forever.
リュカ先生、
One of the boys shot his hand up high.
俺もしリライバーになるなら今とは違う見た目になりたいんだけど。
Nope.
違う外見、それは年を取りたいという意味ではなく？
うん、別の人になりたい。俺の体じゃなくて別の誰かの体に記憶のダウンロードはできないの？
Well, we know the answer to that is, no. Not without a lot of problems.
はい、フワイナ。
あとは髪の毛とか瞳の色を変えるとか。
でしたら技術的に不可能、あるいは禁止されていると答えるほかありません。そちらにある大きめのキャンバスを取ってくれますか？
That large canvas, okay. Yes. To convince his student, who was now pouting adorably,
Ah, thank you for hit pass, Dragon.
Lucas quickly began to draw a diagram on the canvas.
なぜ容姿が異なる別人同然のリライバーが作れないのか。それは、バックアップする記憶とクローン体の有する遺伝子は必ず一致していなければならないからです。
Which, sure, that tracks.
例えば B 君の記憶を A 君のクローン体に無理やりダウンロードしようとしても。
Thank you. Thank you so much for working. I appreciate it. That means a lot.
両者の遺伝子は異なるため不可能。それでも強引に実行しようとすれば、
すれば？
記憶と遺伝子が適合せずに死亡するか、人格や記憶が一部破綻し、人として生きることができない状態になってしまうかと。
You think I'm gonna hiccup or something, but I'm not. He stated the truth in plain terms so the students wouldn't be mistaken. The children all frowned at the results.
怖い。なら僕絶対やらない。意外と不便なんだね、リライバーって。
Yep, it's not all sunshines and rainbows. I didn't think it was a matter of choice, as the Institute would never allow it.
っていうことは、もし今私が死んでリライバーになったら、ずっと姿はこのままってことだよね。私大人になりたいからそんなのやだ。
Well, that's why you don't. Her words began a conversation.
もしかしてさ、普通にこのまま人間として生きてた方が幸せなんじゃない？
Well, little boy, little do you know, you've opened a can of philosophical worms. Philosophical worms, of course, being the juiciest and least fun to chew kind.
23年しか生きられないのになんで？
Yeah.
だって同じ姿と生き方でずっと生きていくってつまらなくない？
And thus you have come across the dilemma of immortality.
別の仕事とかすればいいじゃん。
Lucas moved the brush off the canvas.
その件なのですが、実はリライバー化後は性格や能力が完全に固定されてしまうため、職の変更は非常に難しいのが一般的です。
He went on to say that the possibility of change gradually became less viable over time. Lucas gave a weak smile.
そうなの？
Like Lucas said, the lineup of vendors working at the marché had hardly changed. The reliver I met who worked as a prostitute was still in the same job, however reluctantly. The children responded to Lucas's explanation with telling expressions of
やっ
disbelief.
ぱりリライバーって思ってたより不便？
けどだからってすぐ死んでもいいだなんて。
私はその気持ちわかるけどな。
The children discuss whether they should just accept being a reliver, just to survive. Yeah, canon. Yep. Yeah, they have to be the same. Yes, we know this from Mathis's room. Naturally, the children were divided and they began debating with one another.
それにリライバーって確か大事な心をほとんど引き継げないんでしょ？
Yeah.
私、お父さんに捨てられた時に引き取ってくれた施設の人たちへのありがとうって気持ち、ずっと忘れたくない。
Her words brought a heavy silence over the room.
はい、そこまで。討論するのは大いに結構ですが、今は授業中ですよ。
Alright, kiddos, let's not talk about this. Lucas's clap quickly broke the uneasy silence that filled the room.
希望があれば専用の時間を設けますから、続きはまたその時に。
でもこのままじゃモヤモヤする。
先生はリライバーのことをどう思ってるの？
Uh-oh.
そうですね。
He pondered over the question with a graceful finger on his cheek.
公平性を欠いてしまうので、私個人の意見は告げられませんが、容姿が変わるリライバーに関しては存在しなくてよかったと安心しています。
なんで？
考えてもみてください。もしも皆さんがリライバーになるたびに背格好や顔を変えてしまったら、
Lucas gave an exaggerated frown.
一体誰が誰なのか、また一から顔を覚え直さなければいけないではありませんか。
He showed a woeful expression as if to say that would be quite a bother.
それは先生の都合じゃん。
何その理由？可愛い教え子のために頑張って覚えてよ。
皆さん、そんなに笑わないでください。先生にとっては深刻な問題なのですよ。
The senseis, the students and I blinked for a moment before we burst out laughing. The class finally ended in a cheerful mood. Great job, Lucas, bringing that mood up. After a short break, the room was now occupied with 5- and 6-year-olds who would be learning mathematics.
リュウカイ先生、教えてもらった通りにやってもここの計算が合わない。僕は終わったよ。採点して、先生。
はい、今から順番に回りますから、少し待っていてくださいね。
As the children worked on the problems they were assigned, Lucas walked over to one of the boys. Since class was nearly over, I was beginning to pack up the materials when... Oh. I noticed one of the girls at the back was staring at Lucas as if wanting to ask something. She opened her mouth to speak up, but then looked down without saying a word. Maybe she's... shy?
もしも、授業中に難しい顔をしている子がいたら、声をかけてあげるか、私に教えてください。生徒の中には、自分から質問することを苦手としている子もいますから。
After a second thought, I quietly walked over to the girl so I wouldn't bother Lucas. Is there something you need help with? She gave a small start when she heard me address her. She must have been having problems if she kept trying to speak up.
ここ、何回やってもお手本と同じ答えにならなくて、一つ数字がずれちゃうの。
She pointed to her calculation with tears in her eyes. I looked at her textbook from the side and checked her work. Oh, I see. I think the order you did it is different from the example. Using some scrap paper, I modeled the problem for her using shapes instead of numbers. I consoled her as I did so, and her quiet sniffling soon disappeared.
解けた！自分で解けた！嬉しい！ありがとう、先生！
Aww. Madam. Even though I was only working as an aide, her words gave me a warm and ticklish feeling. I suddenly remembered. Lucas told me that part of a teacher's job was praising students for solving problems and completing their assignments. May I put my hand on your head?
いいよ！
With her approval, I slowly set the palm of my hand on top of her head. Her hair was surprisingly soft as I gave it a gentle pat. You've done well. You're such a good girl. Aw, I instinctively spoke the same words that Lucas said to me on that day. Words of magic that were both warm and kind. Oh? Being that it was my first day, I didn't go around asking people about Buro, and instead...
また明日ね、先生。
Kigorish.
先生もありがとうございました。
Lucas and I left the orphanage as the students waved goodbye. Those children knew about me, but they weren't scared at all. I came prepared, expecting them to avoid me, as they should have been. They should have been scared. As they should have been scared, despite the orphanage's approval.
子供は自分の心に正直ですから。実感の伴わない噂話に同意することはあまりありません。大人が怖いと口にしたところで、あの子たちからすれば君は優しそうなお姉さんにしか見えなかったのでしょう。
Now that you mention it, I recall seeing other children walk by me on the streets without any fear at all.
でしょ?
He smiled wholeheartedly, then repositioned his briefcase filled with papers and teaching materials.
それで、いかがでしたか? 初めてのお手伝いの感想は?
Well, it was fun. Yahoo! Wocho's right. It was very fun. Not only working with the children, but also having a chance to hear your lessons again. I should have actually raised my hand during class to ask you some questions myself.
今からでも遅くないのでは? 助手の仕事を勉強している間、いくらでも挙手してくださって構いませんよ。
Aw. That's good to hear. I'll raise my hand to ask a question next time. Lucas gazed at the setting sun wavering on the horizon as he spoke fondly of today's memories. To be honest, I was surprised that the children called me Madam. Well, I'm not going to correct them. They're children. I mean, it was my first day as an aide. I still don't really know what I'm doing.
授業中でのみ使う愛称としてなら問題ないかと。
Oh, I'm just going to go back to calling it sensei because that's what it actually is, and they translated it to Madame and Monsieur. Whatever. Lucas then looked at me with a smile as if he just recalled something. I mean, besides, when I took French in my Earth High School, my French teacher was unmarried and we called her Mademoiselle. He then naturally placed his hand on top of my head.
初めてのお手伝い、よく頑張ってくれました。次回以降もどうかよろしくお願いしますね。私のかわいいジョシュ君。
Right, I'll do my best. I felt a little embarrassed as he petted my head like I was a child. Oh, Lucas, you've been praising me a lot, saying that I've done well, but...
おや、お嫌でしたか?
No, that's not it. I'm really happy, which is why I don't want you to spoil me too much. I'd rather have you praise me and tell me that I did well when I really deserve it.
君がそう言うのなら、わかりました。
Well, he thinks we always deserve it.
ですが、私からすれば、
because he already has a crush on us.
人間は日々を純粋に生きているだけでも称賛されるべき命だと思いますよ。生きづらいこの国の中ではなおさら。
Somewhat reluctantly, Lucas moved his hand off my head. Aww. My first day at work. It was tiring, but it sure was fun. After having dinner, I quickly went to my room and got into bed. I was tired, but my mind was filled with memories of having fun with the children today. And it's all because of Lucas. Some of the children probably didn't worry much knowing me because I knew Lucas.
Hajimete no otetsudai. Yoku ganbatte kuremashita. 次回以降もどうかよろしくお願いしますね。私のかわいいジョシュ君。
Subordinate. Josh Kun is just kind of cutesy subordinate. So he just called us by cute little subordinate. I gently touched my head where his warmth was just a moment ago. How strange. It's like I can almost feel his warmth. He really does spoil me a little too much. Especially considering that Lucas was doing more than I was while having to worry about his body reaching its limits. Yes, I'll do more next time. I haven't done much for others, so I'll make up for it now. Doing my best as his aide could also lead me to earn the trust of others who work with him. I might be asked more questions from the students next time. So I better do what I can and re-educate myself on the basics. Let's see, I'm sure I had the old textbook and notes on this shelf. I looked around for my materials. I must have been focusing too much, as I didn't notice that some of the children were peeking inside my room.
帰ってきた。帰ってきたけど、
Blessings.
忙しそう。
お姉ちゃん、せっかく笑うようになったのに、全然構ってくれないね。
Is nothing I do gonna make Milo happy? Is he always just like a little rotten shit? It had been about an hour since I escorted Prince Day's orphanage. I was in one of the patient rooms of the hospital run by the Society of Exorcists. I was writing down what happened today in my journal. As I continued to write each day, I became accustomed to the habit. The memories that I envisioned flowed into the page in flowing letters.
なんだか今日はとっても楽しそうね。
The young girl lying in the patient bed looked at me and chuckled. I stopped writing and smiled at her.
おや、私はいつもこの日記を楽しく書いているつもりでしたが。
いつにも増してって意味よ。何かいいことがあったの？
She had such sharp instincts. I decided to tell her what I was writing as there is nothing to hide.
実は私に愛らしい助手ができたんですよ。
助手？教え子ではなくて？
ええ、私を助けてくれる頼もしい助手さんです。たくさんの苦しみという試練に耐えてきたまっすぐでけなげなとてもいい子。きっとあなたも気に入ると思いますよ。今日の分の日記を書き終えたらたくさん語ってあげますから、もう少しだけ待っていてくださいね。
相変わらず思わせぶりな言い回しが好きなんだから。ところで、そろそろ恋人は見つかった？
Amazing.
じゃあ気になる女の人は？もういっつも笑顔でごまかすんだから。
Amazing.
早く素敵な人を見つけて私を安心させてよね。
Aww.
浮いた話の一つもない男ですみません。
She covered her pouting face with her bed sheets, and I kept a smile on my face to avoid further questions. Yeah, I have a crush on said aide. A few days later, I didn't have work as a teacher's aide today. They are adorable. As usual, I went out to the marché to buy supplies for the orphanage. Even though people still stared at me, I was able to do the groceries a lot more easily now that they weren't looking at me in as bad a light as before. Things sure had changed. I heard from Mother that there hadn't been any reports or rumors of people dying like victims. Dying like victims. Dying like the victims in the strange suicides. I assumed the fact that Adolf hadn't contacted us meant that nothing had really progressed on his side either. I was starting to wonder now whether the incidents really were resolved with how peaceful things were. Nope, don't get used to it. Still, I should look into Buro, and maybe I should meet Anku again and reconfirm what he really meant. As I wondered to myself whether I could see him again tonight if I went out to the Lycoris field. You motherfucker! This bitch! I noticed someone moving back and forth between the stalls with his head tilted as though he was troubled. Don't play fucking dumb with me, asshole. I know who the fuck you are. I know who the fuck you are, and I want to murder you. Isn't that... Yeah, that's the bitch. Recognizing his familiar silhouette, I quickly made my way over. No, leave. Excuse me, Jean?
おやお久しぶりです。あの時は坊ちゃんが大変お世話になりました。
I hate this man. I hate this man.
坊ちゃんが無事に戻ってこれたのも皆さんがいてくださったおかげです。
Oh, don't thank me. I mean, the Claude family paid the expenses and we did use your car too. Speaking of which, how is Mathis? Is he doing well, you motherfucker? At that, Jean's expression changed into a troubled smile. Did something happen to Mathis?
はい。実は、
Don't tell me you killed him.
坊ちゃんはブローの死を受
Okay, well
け、
that's
自室で
normal.
塞ぎ込んでしまっていて。
What? I'm ready to murder this man. Huh? Ever since Bro died? Why is that? His brother's killer died like he wanted.
その仇を自分の手で撃てず、あのような形で復讐が終わったことがよほど無念だったのでしょう。
He's pretty. I will give you that. He is gorgeous. It doesn't make up for his twisted fucking mind. I understood what he meant. I see. I suppose it's not as simple as it seems. It wasn't like he would be fully satisfied if he extracted his vengeance. But not only did Buro die at the hands of someone else, but Mathis couldn't uncover his identity after years of searching. I'm not surprised that he feels this way. Maybe I could speak with Mathis.
今は難しいかと。
He locked himself in his room. You mean you killed him?
もうしばらくは一人で過ごされる時間が必要だと思います。
I see. I know I can't do much, but if there is anything I can help with, please let me know. We aren't working together or seeing each other like before, but the fact that Mathis is one of my dear friends will never change.
お気遣い、心より感謝いたします。
Uh-huh.
俺も自分なりに坊ちゃんの力になれないか、できることを模索してみますね。
Oh boy, even if Buro was dead, the scars he left on the victims' families would never fade. Without a backup, they couldn't be revived. If I find out who Buro is, maybe I could save Mathis and bring him some peace. Damn. Before the pain could be forgotten, I took action in the middle of the night. Anku, are you there? Oh. Only the whispering of the wind responded. He did say he would be watching me from the Lycurus field, but maybe that was just a figure of speech. Come to think of it, I did see him once back at Adol's house. It's probably safe to assume that he was not always in one place at all times. Or maybe he's back in Hades now and is doing his duty as a watchman from there. I want to see husband, but we're not being given husband. I recalled the day I last saw him. The way he changed the moment I said I wanted to decline his offer. His usual smile disappeared, and in its place I saw rage, irritation. It seemed that breaking the contract with him really was a matter of life or death. Life and death. Or could it be for another reason? Yeah, no, that was his marriage contract, bro. We were breaking up with him. We didn't know it, and we shouldn't have. In any case, I can't do much else now unless I see him. Do you know where I can find Anku? I wondered aloud to the black lycorises. The flowers rustled and swayed from side to side as if to say no. It's pretty late already, so maybe I'll come back next time. But some call me sensei now, instead of death. I wonder what Anku would say if he found out. Anku doesn't want it rubbed in our face that we're shacking up with some other guy in this route. The next morning, I woke up earlier than usual and finished my daily chores before stepping outside. I met Lucas along the way and walked with him to the same orphanage as last time.
今回の授業は早めに切り上げ、体力づくり、遊ぶ時間を設けます。汚れた場合に備えての着替えは持ってきていますか?
Why would I bring a change of clothes? Yes.
おや、何やら浮かない顔ですが、外遊びは増えてで?
Hi, Keekers. It depends on what the temperature is outside. Oh, it's not that. This morning as I was about to leave, I noticed the children were staring at me like they weren't happy. In particular, seeing Milo glaring at me again stung me hard. I was finally able to get along with them after the incident. I was wondering whether I did something to make them upset.
サロメさんはその件について何か?
Probably nothing. To be honest, probably nothing. I shook my head. She only smiled and said I shouldn't worry since it's the children who are mistaken. What?
自業自得? ああ、なるほど。それは確かに君に非はありません。時間が解決することでしょうから、本当に気に病まなくてよいかと。
Are you sure? I mean, if you and Mother say so. okay. I breathed a sigh of relief as we arrived, without a chance to think any further.
Sensei, 遅い。捕まえちゃうぞ。
Oh god.
リュカ先生は早くて捕まえられないから、あっちの先生を狙うぞ、お前ら。
Wait a minute! I was running as fast as I could in a game of tag with the children. I should have brought clothes that were easier to move around in. After being cooped up inside the orphanage for so long, all this running was taking its toll. Each time I managed to find some place to hide, one of the children would appear and reach out to tag me. I haven't played this game in a long time, not since my previous orphanage. I thought about days long past as I hid behind the bushes near the fence that surrounded the lawn. Thinking back, I really wasn't a fast runner at all. It feels like just yesterday.
先生、捕まえた。
Eek! Unable to brace the force from behind, my body fell forward. I wasn't prepared for the impact. I closed my eyes tightly and braced myself for a hard landing when... Oh. 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 Someone grabbed me by the arm and I felt a mild jolt instead of the pain I was expecting. I raised my head to see beautiful eyes and long eyelashes in front of my face.
いたった。うまく支えきれず申し訳ありません。お怪我はありませんか?
I'm fine. You kept me from falling. Thank you very much. What a interesting position we find ourselves in. I'm sorry you had to help me.
いえいえ、私が勝手に飛び出しただけですから。むしろ転んでしまうほど君が夢中になれているようで何より。
Huh? What is me having fun? Why does me having fun indicate that I could fall?
ですが。
Lucas looked around as the children gathered around us with concern. He found the boy who tackled me from behind and addressed him in a calm voice.
私と遊ぶ時と同じ調子で抱きついてしまったんですね。
Yeah, Lucas is fucking super strong. Don't do the same things.
元気なのは良いことですが、私と彼女では力も体格も全く違います。なので今後はもう少し気をつけながら遊びましょう。君も優しい先生が自分のせいで怪我をしてしまったら悲しいでしょ?
はい。ごめんなさい。
Aww. Oh, don't worry. I'm sorry for not paying attention. I'll make sure not to fall next time, so can we keep playing together? Oh, Lucas told the boy that Sensei was going to take a break. With that, the boy apologized to me once more and headed back to play with the other children.
ああも無邪気な姿を見ると厳しく叱れないので困ります。
I agree. I was having so much fun that it made me think about my own childhood. I was never very active, but I liked to play outside at my old orphanage. I remember falling down and crying a lot, but the staff there and my friends consoled me each time.
おお、それは実に
Is that the one we
意外
burnt
で
down?
すが素敵な思い出ですね。
Could be.
君が過去の記憶を傷ではなく思い出として語ってくれたこと、私は嬉しく思いますよ。
Hold on, I'm gonna check one thing. Two things. That's that. That's that. And that is all right. All right. All right. Oh. My breath caught in my throat as Lucas gave me the kindest smile.
その調子でもっともっと。
Aww.
君自身も忘れていた感情や笑顔をどうか私に教えてください。それを引き出すためのお手伝いなら私がいくらでもして差し上げますから。
Okay. Sorry, I had to check a thing real fast. Another thing. So many things for me to check. His caring words seem to be a beacon to a brighter future. When the children started to slow down from all the running, the staff came and let everyone know they had snacks and drinks ready. Hi, Phantom! Are we close to chapter 2? We're not even to chapter 2 yet. I decided to leave the children to Lucas for now. I offered help to the orphanage staff to help them get the juice and snacks ready.
お洋服を汚してしまってごめんなさいね。あの子たちいつもリュカ先生に逃げ切られているから、今回こそはと躍起になっちゃったみたいで。
What's with this music? It's okay. It reminded me that I need more exercise. It must be tough playing with the children every day. As we had our conversation, the other staff looked at me with curious eyes, some who had lived as long as 30 years as relivers. Their impression of me might have changed after seeing me in class and playing with the children. After setting the tables with snacks, the staff members responded easily to my inquiries, which were disguised as small talk. Oh no, we're asking questions. Of course, I avoided mentioning that I was investigating Buro's background. With the hope of finding a lead, I borrowed the orphanage's record book that contained pictures of the children they cared for. I continued asking questions as I flipped through the book.
あんな恐ろしい殺人鬼が潜んでいたなんてね。この衛兵数人がかりでもまるで叶わなかったとか。その場に居合わせたらと思うとゾッとするわ。
Amazing. Did the children or staff ever encounter someone like him?
まさか。そんな物騒な人間、私たちの周囲にはいないわよ。
Have you... Okay, well, here's the next question, Phantom. Have you seen the MV for Stacy's dad? The one where someone did it with Hercules and something else. Stacy's dad AMV. Here it is! From 13 years ago. Have you seen this one? This one is fucking hilarious. Oh, you've seen the live action of Stacy's dad? Well, okay, so that video is from 15 years ago. And it's an animation that somebody made. And unfortunately, you're gonna have a moment to watch it because I unfortunately have to run to the restroom real quick. So we're gonna throw on the BRB. And I will be right back. I return. And yes, isn't it a fucking masterpiece? It's been a while since I've seen the whole thing, but I have seen it. Somebody compressed it down into a whole GIF. The whole thing into a single GIF. It goes really, really fast, but it's a masterful piece of editing. All right, let's pop over here again. I'm back. Okay. Just we're asking them about Puro.
それにこの辺りはあの人たちのおかげでとても治安が良かったから。そんな不審者がいたらすぐに誰かしらがこの衛兵か自警団に報告していたはずよ。
Who made sure of it?
昔、もう8年以上前になるかしら。ここから連なるシュディの一角にとても頼りになるリライバーの夫婦が住んでいたのよ。
Okay.
特に旦那様は防犯や警備に心得があるお方でね。
Is that Lucas's parents?
近所だからと私たちにも防犯や護身術、不審人物の見分け方まで丁寧に教えてくれて。
They were from Shidi?
ええ、風変わりな方でしょ。
I didn't think the people who lived there ever came to Koen.
この国ではリライバー化のお金目当てに強盗や泥棒を働く人も少なくないから。本当にあのお二人には感謝しないと。けどご長男が家を出たのを機に
It's Lucas's
突
parents.
然引っ越してしまったのよね。今頃どこで何をしているのかしら。
If they're that kind, they must be helping other people in a different district now. After all they've done, I hope they're doing well. The woman smiled in agreement. At that same moment, I reached the last page of the record book. I made sure to check the details of each child and what they did after they left the orphanage. Many of them were physically fit and went on to work with the Corps and the Royal Guard, but none of them joined the Institute as researchers or guards. It's not easy to find a lead after all. I closed the book with a quiet sigh of disappointment. Don't know what we think we're looking for. I spoke with some of the other staff later, but in the end, there was no notable information to be found. With the afternoon class over, I made my way back with Lucas by my side.
まあまあ、そう落ち込まず。まだ1件目ですから。
Yeah.
焦らず、地道に調べていきましょう。その代わり、というのもなんですが、今日一日でたくさんの人と話すことができたではありませんか。
Yep. I guess you're right. I'll do my best to keep talking to as many people as possible. Just as I was about to say goodbye and part ways, Lucas stopped suddenly as though he wasn't planning on going home.
すみませんが、もう少しだけ私にお付き合いいただいても。
No! No! How horrible!
せっかくの機会なので、君にぜひ会ってもらいたい人がいるんです。
Don't you caramel dancing at me! Uh-huh. We're gonna go meet Lucas's sister, his pure precious sister. With that, Lucas led the way to the hospital managed by the Society of Exorcists, where Adolf and Eve are admitted. Oh goodness. Ugh. My own cough. I walked down the hallway behind him until we stopped in front of one of the patient rooms. Isn't this?
私です。入りますよ。具合の方はどうですか？
A faint voice responded, too soft for me to hear, but it seemed like we could come in. He went inside without a second thought, while I followed after a bit hesitantly. Oh, precious! Oh yeah, they're so fucking alike. A familiar room and a familiar face greeted us.
ナディア、少し早いですが、お見舞いに来ましたよ。
やった。ならいつもよりたくさんお話ができるわね。あら？そちらの人は？
あなたが会いたい会いたいと声が枯れるほど繰り返していた。私の大切な教え子にして助手です。
本当？この人が例のあなた、もしかしてあの時の。
Ah! Yep, I'm the one who helped you out before.
たはもしかして新しい入院患者さん？嬉しい。私以外にここに若い女の子が入ってくるのは久しぶりだわ。
And you're...
そう、私よ、ナディア。嬉しい。覚えててくれたのね。
All we said was, and you're... You gotta find something else that rhymes with bro. I know it might be... I know I might be a chode, but I'm in love with princes, bro. No, that one's too rude. It's a work in progress.
おや、二人には面識が？
I just can't take it slow. Yeah, I'm in love with princes, bro. Because you're not taking it slow at all. You're ready to hop in his pants. Right now.
前に兄様の日記を落とした時に彼女が拾ってくれたの。まさかあなたが兄様が話してた女性だなんてすごい偶然。兄様、これはまさに運命的な巡り合いじゃないかしら。
I tried my best to sort out the situation while Lucas stood there with a troubled smile. The first thing I needed to confirm was the word I heard the minute we stepped inside. Brother?
ああ、紹介が遅れてすみません。この子は私の
妹のナディア・プルーストよ。今年で12歳。
Aww. Lucas's younger sister, a sickly girl who is in the care of the hospital managed by the Society of the Exorcists.
兄様がいつもお世話になってます。
Aww. Younger? Sister? No! They had the same last name and looked exactly like each other. Oh god, they also laugh the same. They even laugh the same way. Oh god, that's terrifying.
兄様から一緒に働き始めたっていう女性の話を聞いて、どうしても会ってみたいとお願いしたの。あの時は日記を拾ってくれてありがとう。
No, not at all. I'm glad we were able to meet again, Mademoiselle Proust. I never thought you two were siblings, but now that I've had a better look, you two really do look like.
よく言われるわ。私たち二人とも母様になの。でも敬語だなんてなんだかよそよそしくて悲しいわ。私そんなに顔が怖い
？Huh? No, not at all.
そう？なら敬語なんて使わないで普通にお話ししてくれると嬉しいわ。
Don't use Keigo. Sure,
名前も普通に呼んで。私の方が年下だもの。
Nadia.
何かしら。
Seeing me speak her name with a hint of embarrassment, Nadia looked as if she was ready to spring from the bed with delight. Aww. But in the next moment... Yeah, I was about to say. She's getting really worked up. Something tells me maybe the sick girl shouldn't get super worked up. She held her chest and coughed in pain.
Nadia.
Are you okay? Lucas quickly moved closer to Nadia to rub her back.
体に触るので彼女に会っても興奮しないようにと昨べ注意しておいたでしょう。
Exactly.
だって
After her coughing settled down, Nadia tugged on Lucas's clothes.
ようやく兄様の身近に女性が現れたのよ。興奮するなと言う方が意地悪だわ。
That works, yeah. That's good.
この人が私の将来のお姉様なんでしょ？
Huh?
またそのようなことを。彼女はあくまで教え子だとあれほど説明したでしょう。
He's so embarrassed.
そこから関係を発展させるからの命じゃないの。兄様だって本当は彼女と特別な関係になり
Oh,
たい。
wow!
育児なしね。
I wonder what they were whispering about. Oh god. Are you feeling better now?
軽く咳き込んだだけだから気にしないで。それでね、兄様にあなたを呼んでもらった理由なのだけれど、私生まれつき体が弱くてこの病院にずっと入院しているの。ほら、体がガリガリで肌も青白いでしょ。
Well, yeah, you don't really look 12. Nadia pulled up her sleeve to reveal an unbelievably thin arm hidden underneath. Oh.
こんな体だから気持ち悪いって言われて、今までお友達を作ることもできなくて。でもね、この前兄様から聞いたの。あなたお外に出るようになってからお友達ができたんでしょ。だから私もその中に入れてほしいなって。
She's precious. My eyes widened at the unexpected request. Wait, so you mean I could be your friend? Is that what you're saying?
そうよ。むしろ私の方がなってほしいとお願いする立場だわ。
Nadia, precious, we love Nadia. It was such a nice thing of her to say. But
あなたの事情に関しては兄様からうっすら聞いてる。それでも私はあなたと仲良くなりたいと思ったの。死神だなんて誰が流したかもわからない変な噂より、私はあの日見知らぬ子供の日記を拾ってくれた優しいあなた自身を信じるわ。
兄として私からもお願いします。どうかこの子の友人、話し相手になってはくれませんか。私もこまめに見舞いへ訪れていますが、やはり同性の友達がいないことが寂しいようで。
I'd love to. Yeah, we're not gonna turn her down. I'd love to be your friend. I've always wanted a nice friend like you, Nadia. Aww.
いずれは友達から家族になるかもしれないけ
She
れど。
ships us so hard. Huh?
ナディア。
yeah, I'm ignoring you guys. My heart was buoyed by the knowledge that I'd made such a cute friend. The door behind me slowly slid open.
リュカ君、来ていたのかい？それに君も。珍しい組み合わせだね。
I have weird feelings about Capuchin. Ellie hates him, which makes me think he's done something bad. Oh, Dr. Capuchin, it's been a while.
あの困った患者たちは、あれから元気にしているかな？
How many? One second. I have an itch inside of my ear. It's really annoying. There we go. Yeah, I don't remember what capuchin means. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah. 10. It was 10 for chapter 1, and now it's 17. I do not want little sick girl. Well, okay, sorry, I misread that. I thought you said he wants little sick girl. Like I want Nadia, and I was like, wait a second. I think you've extremely misunderstood. It's been like an hour and a half. Yeah. Yeah, I want her brother. I want to fuck her brother. I was sure he knew about what the royal family made public. Given that Nadia was here, Dr. Capuchin didn't seem like he wanted to talk about that or the incidents. Suddenly, as if she had been waiting for his arrival, Nadia let out a bright smile.
カプシーヌ先生、聞いて聞いて。
Cappuccino?
私、彼女とお友達になったのよ。
それは素晴らしい。君が嬉しいなら私も嬉しいよ、ナディア君。
Interesting. Dr. Cappuccino responded with a very gentle smile. I was surprised, yeah, Dr. Cappuccino. I was surprised to see that expression from him for the very first time.
驚きましたか？カプシーヌ先生はナディアの主治医なんです。もう長い付き合いになるので、私たち兄弟の前では少し表情が柔らかくなるんですよ。
Oh, so Dr. Cappuccino isn't just doctor to you. Which would explain why he had been so supportive when we were investigating the case. Dr. Cappuccino gently checked Nadia's pulse and then gave another warm smile.
心の健康は体の健康。彼女とたくさん楽しいお話をして英気を養いなさい、ナディア君。
Nadia's bright smile was filled with much more life and joy than I had ever shown before. Than I had ever shown before. Interesting. I can't believe she needs medical care. I promised Nadia that I would come and visit her again before leaving the hospital. Right after we left, I couldn't hold back from sharing my thoughts to Lucas.
私も時々そう思いますよ。
He sighed with a weak smile.
ですが、すべて本当のことです。今日は君とも問題なく会話できていましたが。
Kaiwa conversations. My vocab words. My vocab words.
ナディアは些細なことでも体調を崩しやすい。本当に儚い体の持ち主なんです。病院の外にもほとんど出たことがない。
Exactly.
それどころかベッドから起き上がることもままならない。私もなるべく毎日お見舞いに行ってその日あったことや外の世界のことを語っていますが、やはり一人病室で過ごす寂しさは禁じ得ないようで。
I see. On that first day we stayed overnight, Lucas did mention that he needed to let someone know he was going to be out. He must have been referring to Nadia. Noticing my concern about her situation, Lucas gave me a gentle smile.
君がそんな顔をする必要はありません。あの子はあの子なりに制限の多い自分の性を精一杯に謳歌しようとしています。でなければあんな愛らしい笑顔浮かべられるはずがないでしょ。
Yeah, she's very sweet, like an angel. Despite hearing the rumors about me, she wasn't afraid at all and even offered to be my friend. In order to ease the worry I felt in my heart, I reminded myself that she was strong. She was more positive and brave than I was. Feeling sorry for her would only be an insult. I'm happy to have a friend as wonderful and strong as her. Thank you very much for introducing Nadia to me.
こちらこそあの子の願いに応えてくれてありがとう。君たちが共に支え合える良き友人となれるよう、私も神に祈り、いえ、私も協力を惜しみませんから。兄弟ともどもこれからもよろしくお願いします。
That's another one of my vocabulary words. Kyoryoku is a really fun one because Kyoryoku technically consists of 4 copies of the same kanji. Kyoryoku has 4 copies of the strength kanji. The kanji for kyo is the radical for, I think, person? Or like loiter? I don't remember the exact radical name. It's been a bit since I learned radicals. And then it has 3 strength radicals. It's just 3 kanji for strength in a triangle. And then the ryoku is just strength. It's like a bunch of like strength coming together. Kyoryoku, cooperation. Minna no kyoryoku ga hitsuyou da ne. Everyone's cooperation is vital, yes. It's vital. Yeah, same here. Pika pika. Pika. Oh, there it is. Finally, chapter 2. And it only took almost 2 hours.
導く者は義務を負う。武を司る男は、己が血を継ぐ者に武器を与えながらこう言った。お前は弱く良き者を守れる矛になりなさい。子は応じた。わかりました。この力、決して使い方を誤りはしません。
Uh-oh. Chapter 2 is when stuff starts getting a little hint of the dark. Like, we got some hint of the dark, chapter 1, but chapter 2 it starts getting more. Turning back time. Before the night, the young maiden of death appeared. Anku! Anku, the watchman of death, stood alone in the Lycoris field, looking in the direction where he would appear.
ふむ。死に迫るパートナーとして彼を選ぶとは予想外だった。さすがに彼に関しては私もろくな情報を得ていない。信頼足りうる人物だというのなら、目的を達するまで彼女を任せてもいいのだが。
Something didn't feel right. Anku? Anku randomly plucked one of the black licorices growing around him.
念のためだ。少し調べてみるか。
After enjoying the flower's fragrance, he crushed it in his hand. He avoided the calamity that should have befallen him and disappeared from the field. Oh, okay. Interesting. A single licorice petal fluttered through the window inside.
こうしてリライバーを生産する国立研究所とリライバーを否定するエクソシスト教団は、ある教祖への代替わりを機に不干渉の協定を結び、今日まで至ることになり。
A gentle knock interrupted Lucas's history lesson. After receiving his nod of approval, I slowly opened the door.
授業中ごめんなさい。リュカ先生にお話が。
Yes, just a moment. I turned around and looked at Lucas to signal that his presence was being requested. After a quick word to the students, Lucas walked over to us.
何か急ぎのご用事ですか？
はい。実は先日保護された子が個室で暴れていて、落ち着かせるのを手伝っていただけませんか？あの子、リライバーになった母親にひどい暴力を振るわれていたせいか、私たち女性職員の対応では。
Lucas's eyes narrowed at her explanation.
わかりました。すぐに向かいます。
Whoa! Holy moly, that's a whole new expression.
その子が普段気に入っているぬいぐるみなどがあれば用意していただけますか？
はい。大部屋からすぐに持ってきます。
As she hurried off, Lucas and I looked at each other and nodded.
皆さん、すみませんが先生は少しだけ席を外します。
Yeah, his it doesn't show what his sprite looked like, but yeah.
私が戻るまでは授業の復習か先ほど配った課題をしていただいても構いません。では、すみませんが子供たちをお願いします。
Yes, you can count on me. After seeing Lucas walk off at a brisk pace, I took his place in the front of the room. Now then, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to let me know. Although there may be certain things we'll have to wait for Monsieur Prost to answer.
そう？俺は 先生の教え方上手だと思うよ。
Huh? Really?
うん。特に数学の計算問題。絵を描きながらわかりやすく教えてくれるし。
Aww.
私、先生の描いてくれた猫が数式を説明してくれるの好き。
Aww.
あれかわいいよね。ねえねえ、授業が終わったら私の手帳にも書いて。
Aww. Sure, if you really don't mind. But first, let's all focus on studying, okay? Aww. After another chorus of cheerful responses, the children got right into reading their textbooks with renewed enthusiasm. So nice. My heart felt so warm. Being surrounded by the children kept me busy, but it was also fulfilling in a way. A week had passed since I began this job. The children addressing me as a teacher feels normal now. I was happy that the children were now so close to me that they actually treated me with affection. But I still hadn't gotten any leads into Budo's identity. I'd listed some possible people that I suspected could be Budo, but after looking into them further, I found that they led perfectly normal lives. None had the same physique or stature as Budo. I was surprised there were no rumors about someone as skilled and powerful as he was. In addition, we're pretty sure that it's a dude. I guess, yeah. I hadn't seen Anku at all, even though I had been to the same part of the Lycoris fields a number of times. I wanted to know why he thought the incidents weren't over yet.
Okay, Mimi, thank you so much for stopping by while you could.
With an internal sigh, I read the textbook in my hand when...
止まってください。部外者は立ち入り禁止ですよ。
What? I heard a desperate cry from outside. Hmm? What? Curious, I headed to the window and looked out. Oh god. Huh? A tall man forcibly shoved the staff member with all his strength. She fell hard onto the ground. What the? With no regard to her whatsoever, he headed towards the entrance of the facility. I thought he might be a burglar pretending to have a child here, but he looked unarmed. Who was he? What was going on? Although the situation was still uncertain, my body moved to take action. Protect the kiddos. Everyone, go to the back of the room. I hurried them out of their seats and urged them to the back of the room, standing in front to guard them. A few seconds passed as I held my breath and stared at the door. The sound of the wall clock ticked on, second by second. Fierce stomping could be heard in the hallway, coming closer and closer. One of the girls let out a scream. A large man kicked open the door to get into the room. Dennis? That was the name of a 6-year-old boy here who always raised his hand to participate in class. He was right next to me, so I looked at him and asked, Dennis, do you know him? Your dad? I don't like this. This isn't like triumphant, yay, they were reunited, music. This is, something bad's going on music. This is something bad is going on music. Man continued to speak as we looked on, dumbfounded at what was happening. Yeah. Dennis gave a sharp reply as he grabbed hold of my clothes. Oh, I finally understood the situation. I could see the reliver mark clearly on this man's arm, which proved he was a reliver. Despite his kind, regretful expression, I had seen enough from him to understand that he was willing to use force to get his way, which meant...
リライバーになって脳に残った当時の記録を客観的に見て自分がどれだけ最低なことをしたのかやっと気づいたよ。まさか自分自身を軽蔑する時が来るなんてな。
The only drawback of being a reliver, though in Shin's words it was by design, was the loss of emotion due to an overload of memory during the reliver process.
マルシェでの商売が成功してシュデイに立派な家を建てることができたんだ。だから今の俺ならお前をたくさん愛してやれる。
Please wait a moment. This is all too sudden.
なんだあんたは。
The man took a step forward and I instinctively pulled Dennis closer. It seemed his father lost the negative emotions he felt towards his son after becoming a reliver, so now that he was bored without these emotions, he was here to bring Dennis back. I know there have been a lot of sad instances where strong emotions of love have been lost, but I'd never seen it work in reverse. While it sounded good in theory, judging by the fear in Dennis's eyes, I couldn't simply hand him over. I'm a teacher's aide here. I'm responsible for taking care of the children who live here. So I'm unable to hand him over to you, even if you are his father, without going through the proper process.
外にいる奴がそれを許可しなかったから、こうして直接迎えに来たんだろうが。
Even more reason why I can't. I tried my best to maintain a calm composure so that I wouldn't agitate him more. I decided to gently explain the process to buy some time and hopefully settle him down. In cases like these, we would need to assess the circumstances. Above all else, what the child wants takes priority. If the orphanage has denied your request, that means their evaluation led to the decision that the circumstances are not ideal at the present moment.
黙れ黙れ。子供は親の財産だろうが、それを引き取りに来て何が悪い。
Oh, the man's face flared red with rage despite my calm expression.
さっきの女といい、過去のことを何度も掘り返しやがって。リライバーになった今の俺は、あの頃の俺とは違うんだよ。
You sound the exact same. The angry man quickly grabbed a vase from the shelf near him. It was obvious what he planned to do next. Dennis! I shielded Dennis with my body to protect him. Just as the man was about to throw the vase, a gentle voice reached out to the man and then he made no sound coming in.
いけませんよ。花瓶は花をめでるために作られたものです。
なんだお前、いつの間に。
Are we... I was about to say, we're certain that he's not Budo, but we know he's not, because he was there. A delicate hand grabbed his arm. The man suddenly dropped the vase, sending water and flowers across the floor. Lucas smiled gently as he kept his grip on the man's arm.
お待たせしてしまい申し訳ありません。案内された部屋がここから離れていたものですから。
Oh boy.
異変を察するのに時間がかかってしまいまして。
He then looked around the room.
とっさに止めてしまいましたが、これは一体どのような状況で？
Well, I did my best to explain as simply as possible.
なるほど。あなた、ドニ君のお父さん？自らの罪を悔い改めたことは素晴らしいことですが、懺悔を口にした直後に暴力を振るおうとしては、
違う、今のは少しカッとなって。
Yeah.
その些細な感触で子供の生死を左右されては困ります。先ほどの経緯を聞き、あなたなら大丈夫だと安心して子供を預けると思いますか？
He spoke calmly with reason. Getting the same response from Lucas started to quell the man's rage. So he's just a misogynist.
それと、これはあくまで私の予想なので、異なっていたら大変申し訳ないのですが、もしやあなた、ここで再会してから一度もドニ君に謝罪を告げられていないのでは？
The man looked at Dennis, then at the teacher in surprise. I responded in his place. Yes, he did mention that he regretted what happened and that he wanted Dennis back, but he didn't apologize even once.
でたらめを言うな。そんな当たり前のことを言ってないはずが。
言ってない。ドニ君のお父さんずっと怒ってばっかりだったじゃん。
そうよそうよ。すごい怖かったんだから。
やはり。
Lucas sighed in dismay and Dennis glared at his father with teary eyes.
お父さんのすぐ殴ろうとするところ、ずっと嫌いだったけど。
Oh god.
前のお父さんの方がまだ良かった。 だってお父さんはあの時呪いのせいでもう寿命が迫ってたから。僕を殴る時も泣きながらごめんって繰り返して。
Dennis buried his face in my clothes and continued.
僕を殴ったこと人事みたいに言うお前は絶対にお父さんじゃない。
That's a traumatized child right there.
お前は僕のお父さんの偽物だ。二度と僕や僕の家族に近づかないで。
Yeah. Dennis. Even though he was abandoned, somewhere in his heart he must have wanted to forgive his father because he still loved him. But that sliver of hope was dashed by none other than the father himself. Hearing Dennis's honest refusal, the man slouched as his strength left him.
どうかお引き取りを。この子を前の自分と決別するための道具として利用しないであげてください。
Poor Dennis. Seeing that things were safe, now he let go of the man's arm. After biting down on his lip,
すまない。
with a simple apology, the man left through the doorway as Lucas escorted him out. After watching the man leave, Dennis and the other
決め
children...
た。僕リライバーにはならない。あんな無責任な人になるなら23年で死んでいい。今度先生が授業で言ってたエクソシスト教団の礼拝に行ってみる。
うん。俺も。
私も。
They saw firsthand the changes that occurred when someone became a reliver, and they all reached the same conclusion. Yeah. The man ended up being too disheartened to leave the premises, so the female staff members he shoved earlier called the Corps to have him taken into custody.
施設に大男が押し入ったって聞いた時はびっくりしましたよ。偶然近くを巡回しててよかった。
Yeah.
ほんと災難だったな。子供たちに怪我がないのが不幸中の幸いか。
ええ、本当に一晩の交流で済むでしょうが、彼女や子供たちを怖がらせた分、彼にはしっかりと反省していただかなければ。
だな。けどまあ、あの男も運がねえ。いっそ子供を疎んだままでいりゃ、こんな騒ぎを起こさずに済んだってのに。
Hugo, are there a lot of relivers whose emotions and behaviors change dramatically after reviving?
多くはねえが、少なくもねえな。妹バカで有名な男がリライバーになった途端親愛を失い、妹にかける金が惜しくて殴り殺した。
God!
なんて悲惨な事件も過去にはあったぐらいだ。
That's a lot more than just sad.
ああ、そんな暗い顔すんな。今のはあくまで極端な例だ。
そうそう。現にヒューゴも何度かリライバー化してるらしいけど、面倒見のいい兄貴分のまま変わってないみたいだから。
お、褒めても酒一杯しか出ねえぞ。
やった。じゃあ次の飲み会でおごって。
Well, the two of them laughed heartily to do away with the heavy atmosphere. Yeah. After asking us a few more questions, Eves and Hugo headed back to their base. Considering what happened, there was no way we could continue the lesson for the day. Dennis and the other children were taken to the common room by the staff to make sure they were all right. With only us remaining, we decided to clean the room, starting with the broken vase.
本当に君やドニ君が無事でよかった。もしも君や子供たちが取り返しのつかない傷を負ったらと思うと、未だに寒気が止まりません。
Lucas let out a deep sigh as he swept up the shards of the broom. Yeah, I'm just happy you came in time to save us. If only I could have convinced him or talked reason into him somehow.
いえいえ、最善の判断でしたよ。感情的になって相手を糾弾などしていたらどうなっていたか。子供たちを守ってくれてありがとう。君ももう立派な教師の一人ですね。
Without any warning, he naturally set his palm atop my head. Oh, if anything, it's Dennis who should be praised. I could only imagine how scared he was and how hard it was to see him again. It took an immense amount of courage for him to voice his feelings like that after everything he'd been through.
そうですね。彼もとてもいい子でしたから。後でたくさん褒めてあげなければ。
He has really sharp canines. I keep noticing this. After stroking my hair as though enjoying the feel of it, he finally moved his hand away.
しかし、何度見ても割り切れませんね。教職についてからというもの。ドニ君とよく似た理由で親を失う子供たちを私は何人も見てきました。
I agree. I've seen some myself too. There are many children who lost their families because of reliver technology. Some children were abandoned after being abused by their parents who lost their sense of love after becoming relivers. Some were born simply to work and make money for their parents who then disowned them after they had saved enough money. Some lost their parents when they caved into despair and killed themselves from endless reviving into unchanging lives. Oh boy. The reasons were endless. Unable to turn a blind eye to the situation, the country established orphanages to help. Yeah, that's the least you could have done. But there weren't enough, especially in places like the slums without any support. Parents losing their love for their family was a bleak but common situation. It's pretty scary to think of what would have happened if this country didn't establish and support the orphanages. That said, I wonder why the country hasn't created a law to protect children rather than just build the orphanages.
今のアルペシェール王家では難しいでしょうね。
Yeah.
彼らは基本的に自分たちの延命のことしか考えていません。施設の増設と支援、リライバー技術を利用した犯罪の抑止、身分を問わない才能ある人間の研究所への登用、こういった民を思っての法律はすべて今は亡き唯一良識的な王族の一人によって制定されたもののようですから。
I think I learned about that before. There was only one royal who ever cared about bettering the lives of the commoners. Unfortunately, that person had a particularly strong curse that led to death at an early age. If they had survived, I wonder if the country's view on life would have been different today. Even if we ask the royal family for change, nothing will actually change unless we as citizens agree on the view that all lives have value.
ですが、この国の命の消費の仕方が間違っていると思いながらも、自分に何ができるのかわからないでいる。教師として何とも情けない限りです。
Yeah, particularly strong curse does sound like he was fucking offed. Wow, only 3. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So it was 18. 18, and we're on 3. I don't think we're getting to third chapter 2 tonight. Yeah, curse of pissing the wrong people off. Yeah, he limited how powerless he felt. It sounded like he was concerned about how the children were swayed by adults. But I didn't fully agree with what he just said. I don't think there's anything that you should be ashamed of. During your lessons, you always encourage the children to think for themselves. You're transparent about reliver technology without hiding the facts. Which is why I think your students won't become relivers just because. Instead, I think they'll consider their own wishes and treat their futures with the respect they deserve.
だといいのですが。
We finished sweeping up the vase shards. He tipped them into a sturdy paper bag and we checked to make sure nothing was left. After wiping down the floor with rags, Lucas spoke again.
君も疲れてしまったでしょ。今日の業務は終了にして施設に戻ってゆっくりと休んでください。私は念のためドニ君の面談をしてから自宅に戻ります。
Okay, good. Please take care of Dennis. But before I head back, would it be alright if I went to visit Nadia at the hospital?
ええ、もちろん。あの子もきっと喜びます。ああ、そうだ。それなら遠回りになってしまって申し訳ないのですが。
He took out some papers from his briefcase.
こちらの課題をマティス君に届けてくれませんか？
Huh? Homework?
ええ、彼専用として作ったものです。
Uh-oh.
ジャンさんから伺った通信学習よりもやや難しい内容にしておきましたので、きっと解きがいがあるかと。
Okay. Hearing Jean's name reminded me of when I spoke to him at the marché. Yeah, that motherfucker. After we met that day, Jean asked for a favor before we parted. Whether I could speak with Lucas to check on Mathis when he had the chance.
事情は分かりました。では後日、私の方からジャンさんに詳しい話を伺ってみます。
With Lucas in agreement, we went to the Claude family home the following day. Jean told us how Mathis was currently doing, and we decided to discuss how to help him. Lucas explained further.
仇を失った今の彼は、やるべきことがないために無気力になっているのでしょう。なので、何かしらの義務や課題を与えれば、少しは好転するかと思いまして。
Okay. I see. The questions you've prepared. What are they about? Okay, I guess we have to ask to write some. I'd like to write some. There are so many questions. I'd like to try writing some for the students someday.
では今度、一緒に作ってみましょうか。
Oh, okay.
君は確か、経理を手伝っている関係で、数学が得意と言っていましたね。
経理の意味は bookkeeping。経理。You know what? I'll just bookkeeping. Okay, don't know what Katie is. Bookkeeping. Yes, that'd be helpful. If maybe one day I can help with the children's lessons too. Well, I'll make sure the papers get to him. I hope Mathis will find them interesting.
マティス君も心配ですが、君も帰りが遅くならないよう気をつけて。
Yes, you too, Lucas. I carefully tucked the papers in my bag and left the orphanage. We'll go another 15 minutes, maybe. See if we can find a good stopping point. Just as Prince left the orphanage. Oh. At the Institute in Cernaval, in a lab where relivers were manufactured, a clone's memory download was completed and body was activated to begin life as a new reliver. As he watched the dead body being dragged away by the disposal team.
ダウンロード終了までの時間。ダハとデータベースを更新しろ。次回メンテナンス以降、一月ごとの生産数を最低でも2体は増やす。
はいはい。
As boss's command, Dahoot quickly fidgeted with the screen floating in front of his tired eyes. After updating the database, Dahoot started to jump up and down where he stood.
これで地獄の6鉄が終わった。
Oh God.
やっとふっかふかのベッドで寝れますよ。というわけで、お疲れ様です、シアンさん。永遠にさよならお仕事。最低でも今日一日は起きないので、何人たりとも僕の個室には入ってこないでください。
そうか、たったの6鉄か。お前ならまだいけるな。
Just as Dahoot was about to prance away, Shin grabbed him by the head to stop him.
やだ！無理するなら一人孤独にしてくださいよ。
何、誰ももう一徹しろとは言ってない。これが終わったらどれだけ寝ても構わん。この書類をエクソシスト教団が運営しているあの病院にいるうちの研究員に届けてこい。
わざわざクーネまで行かなくちゃいけないんですか？というか、どうしてうちの研究員がよりにもよって反リライバー団体の病院に？
胃潰瘍で倒れたが、どこの病院にも空きがなかったらしい。
なんて運のない。今頃肩身が狭い思いをしてるだろうな。僕もリライバーだし、絶対悪目立ちしますよ。石とか投げられたらどうするんです？
いいからとっとと言ってこい。
Amazing. Dahoot grumbled and was greeted by a hearty kick out of the laboratory.
もう相変わらず人使いが荒いんだから。 仕方ないな。
Dahoot set his lab coat down in his room as he muttered, then stepped out of the institute for the first time in days. Wow. He breathed in the fresh air with gusto. With gusto. It's gusto. With gusto until he finally reached the hospital in Koen. There's a payroll provider called Gusto. And so I'm used to pronouncing it Gusto. It's gusto for the word. He observed the patients with a sideways glance as he walked through the hallways.
うわぁ、視線が露骨。僕一発でリライバーってわかるもんな。でも、思ったよりは敵少なめ？せっかくだし、ちょっとだけ病院の中を散策してみようかな。
No, you're gonna get fucking got. Dahoot's mind was too tired to control the impulse triggered by his curiosity.
実は前からここ気になってたんだよね。
Uh-oh.
一般患者の治癒率だけなら、どの病院よりも高いって聞いてるし。
Their clinical studies must be top-notch. Among those who were staring, many probably detested relivers and were willing to accept their coming deaths. Dahoot breezed past those stairs and merrily walked through the hallway. Oh boy. Gonna get fucking got. He wandered for 30 minutes in search of rare ailments and unique medical treatments.
医療技術自体はうちよりずっと古い。けど代わりに医者たちの腕がずば抜けてる。これなら高い治癒率も納得かも。
You're to get fucking got, sir.
個人的に引き抜きたい人がいたけど、命を尊ぶ彼らが作る僕らと相入れるわけないか。
As he continued to mull over the thought, a stretcher appeared in front of him with a human body that had expired from the curse. As it passed, Dahoot noticed the body was wrapped with incredible care, far more than what was done for corpses at the Institute. It would probably be buried soon with the bereaved family in attendance. Everyone would take great care to honor the human life that would never again return to them as a reliver. Dahoot found their beliefs to be admirable in a way, but still.
だからって、何もかも諦めて惰性で生きるのも、僕たちに反発するぐらいなら、自力で23年生きてやる。
Does he mumble his thoughts? Oh no. Dahoot stopped as he heard a coughing fit from a nearby room.
ずいぶん激しく咳き込んでるみたいだけど、喘息とか気管支炎の入院患者さんかな。
Uh-oh. He wondered whether he should call for a doctor, but there weren't any in sight. Unable to find it, his heart to just leave, as though he heard nothing.
失礼します。
Oh no, it's Nadia. Yep, Dahoot slowly peeked into the room.
姉様、それとも私の親友さん来てくれた。
え？兄様って？
A pair of innocent eyes greeted him. The young girl was startled for a moment by the unknown guest, but she noticed the unique mark on Dahoot's leg.
あなた、もしかしてリライバー？
そうですけど。
Oh, hi,
君、彼女のお知り合いなんですか？
知り合いじゃないわ。大事なお友達。
大丈夫？
Dahoot quickly moved next to the girl and rubbed her frail back. Interesting. Interesting. I don't like that. But actually, this is probably the best place to stop. So, we're saving. Because I'm probably going to play Cupid Parasite before I go to bed. But this is all the time we have for tonight. Thank you all so very much for stopping by. I am intrigued. Things are going to go wrong. Yeah. Well, both. Things are definitely going to go wrong. How wrong they're going to go, I don't know yet. But we'll have to figure it out. I don't know if we're going to play more of this tomorrow, or if we're going to do Persona 5, or, excuse me, if we're going to do this tomorrow and Persona 5, or if we're going to do Persona 5 then this. I have stuff to do over the weekend, though. more prep for moving stuff. So we'll see. But yes, this is all the time we have for tonight. So let's pop over here. You all know the usual song and dance. If you're not already following me on social medias, I'd appreciate it very much if you would. Yeah, Prince will disappear again. As well, if you're not already part of our community Discord, I would love to see you there. Ah! Yes. I am intrigued. And we'll see more hopefully soon. But yes, I hope you all have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is for you. Thank you all so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Everyone. All right. Well, without any further ado, bye bye.